Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Friday, May 18th, 2012. There's a lot to cover in these charts. Let's start off with the S&P 500 E-mini futures. You'll see that the futures are trading higher this morning by about 6 points at the moment to around 1307.25. Each and every day we see the futures usually start the morning higher. However, by the time the opening bell rings or shortly afterwards, they seem to fade. We'll see if that is the case today. Today the futures did get a big move, make a big move already from the 1295 low that occurred about 1:30 in the morning. So a decent little pop there. That tells you one thing: when you see the market up, it means the dollar is down. U.S. dollar index futures are trading down about 6 pennies at the moment. But look at the fall from about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Dollar has really tumbled, and obviously that has definitely helped the market stay afloat. Now, if the dollar catches a bid, and the dollar has been very, very strong this week, if the dollar starts to move up, it's prudent to expect these markets to pull back and possibly trade even lower today. I know today is the big Facebook IPO, the highly anticipated IPO. I think it's the third largest IPO ever. In any case, we'll just see how this market trades. Don't necessarily think because Facebook is coming out that the market's definitely going to be up. It's just not that kind of market. There's a lot going on in Europe, and that really controls things for the most part. Now, a couple of things since we mentioned Europe that you want to know: Spanish and Italian bond yields are declining today a little bit. So when the yields drop, that usually will help the European markets. Right now, most of the European markets are basically flat, with the exception of Italy and Spain, which are both higher by nearly 1%. That could change in a minute. You know how fast these markets are these days. Don't hang your hat on that one. But right now, the European markets are holding steady. If you also take a look at the euro today, you're going to see that the euro is gaining against the dollar, and that's also helping the markets out. Here's the euro live 10-minute chart. Right now, trading around the 127.2 level. So definitely a good little pop there. And that's all about the dollar. Dollar down, the euro inflates, stock markets inflate, and that's the bottom line. But ultimately, the euro looks like it has broken down. Maybe we'll see a short-term bounce for a few days, but ultimately, it does look like it is going to get set up to go lower. But that would be in a few days. It's very oversold at this point, and today it's gaining a little bit. And you can see as the euro gains, so does the stock market. And we'll look at the S&P 500 E-mini futures, and you can see how the futures are holding up. But it's going to be tough sledding into the close, especially before a weekend. We'll see how these markets fare going into the closing bell today. All right, couple of other things that you want to look for. Yesterday, gold had a big surge. Today, gold is up again another $15 to $15.90 per ounce. So decent little pop in gold. Let's take a look at the GLD today. GLD held up very, very well yesterday, closed at around 152.80. Today, the GLD is trading around 154.15. So another nice early pop. Now, if the dollar falls, expect gold to go up a little bit more. Gold has been a great indicator of inflation and deflation in the marketplace, and we'll see if it's telling us the market's due for some short-term inflation. All right, let's take a look at oil today. Light sweet crude is trading higher by just 15 cents to around the 92.70 level on light sweet crude. Let's take a look at the USO. USO made a little bit of a move yesterday. Today it's trading right around the 35.09, so it's basically where it ended yesterday, maybe a touch higher, but not a big deal. Oil is very oversold as well. If the dollar starts to fall, I think we could see a little bit of a bid in oil, but overall, it's been very, very weak as of late. You still want to be careful there because it may have a little bit more downside in the cards, especially if the dollar gains a little bit of strength once the market opens. So that's what we're going to watch for. It's all about the dollar. Nothing really is different. You can take a look here at the dollar chart. Today has really dropped sharply from the high, but again, as I said, it's only down about 6 cents at the moment. If you look at a bigger time frame, 60-minute dollar chart, and we just zoom in, the dollar has been on a meteoric rise. I mean, that is just tremendous. Look at the rise it's had. It's really since the beginning of May. Dollar has just surged higher, and that has deflated the stock markets, and that's how it works. Dollar up, markets down, and vice versa. It's really the only chart you need to watch. You do not need to follow these charts out of Europe or the news or anything else. Just watch that dollar like a hawk, and it will tell you everything you need to know. All right, there's a couple of stocks out here, a few stocks out here. One, you have the Facebook IPO. I think that's going to debut around 11 o'clock or in that vicinity. You never know how exactly what time it's going to come out, but I have heard that it will be around 11 o'clock a.m. when it begins trading in the initial public offering. It starts trading in the open market. So let's take a look here at a couple of other stocks that are moving today. One is CRM, Salesforce. Stock had some earnings, closed yesterday at 133.80. Today it's trading at 143.30. So a decent pop there for Salesforce. This is a strong gap up, but again, I'm not sure in this kind of market environment what we could look for upside. Right now, if I could give you a few upside resistance levels, and these are going to be just short-term minor because it is a strong gap. It could go through these levels. You're going to watch basically 144, 148, and 150. Those are all going to be short-term resistance levels. They're not going to be great levels to sell short, especially if the market is strong. If the market is weak and the chart pattern presents itself, you may get minor pullbacks around those levels. But again, it's a strong gap up, so you still want to give the stock the benefit of the doubt on a strong gap. Even though we're not in a very strong economic climate at the moment, the markets are very, very weak. Let's take a look at Foot Locker. This one did have is catching a little bit of a bid. Right now it's trading around the 29.36 level. There's no volume here. This is another oversold stock, so this would be considered a strong gap up. We got to see if this thing can really establish itself above $30. If it could do that, it has a chance to move up a little bit more, maybe to 31 or 32. But again, in a weak market, be very, very careful. I would kind of leave these things alone today just because we're not seeing the strongest market in the world, and who knows what we're going to walk into going into the weekend. But right now, Foot Locker's max upside is around 32, maybe 32.25. I do not see the stock getting any higher than that. That would probably be a good level for a little bit of resistance and a possible pullback intraday. Let's take a look at Autodesk. ADSK, there we go. Okay, Autodesk is trading lower. This is a weak gap down, so there will be a bounce in this stock eventually. I think the level that traders need to look at right now is around $30, maybe a little bit lower, $29.75. Around there is a level I think you could look for a short-term bounce on Autodesk. If that level fails to hold, watch $28, and then all the way down, believe it or not, all the way down to $25. So those are the levels for Autodesk, but each level should give you at least a small intraday bounce. This is another stock that has just been completely annihilated. And I just want to talk quickly about JP Morgan real fast. Stock's trading around 34.10 at the moment, closed at 33.93. JPM will have intraday support, I believe, at 32.55, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's it, 32.55. And then after that, this stock breaks down. It's going all the way back down to its October lows, which were basically around the 27.75 area. So JPM does not look good, does not look healthy. These have been high volume sell-offs, and it doesn't look like the stock has exhausted itself. I still don't think the selling is over in JP Morgan, and I've been getting a ton of emails and questions about that. So again, there will be bounces in here. Stock is now oversold, but watch the 32.50 for an intraday bounce. After that, though, this stock could be headed down to the 27.75 level, which is the October 3rd low, I believe, or October 4th low for JP Morgan. Again, we're going to have that Facebook IPO. Fridays, the market will usually get a little bit quiet around the after the first couple hours. This is also options expiration. It's been one of the more lackluster options expirations as far as bounce days goes. Markets have not bounced at all this week. It's been a steady flow of selling pressure, and that is due to the European news, which is definitely in full effect. So we'll see how these markets play out going forward. But right now, futures are up about 6 points at the moment. Again, don't take anything for granted in this kind of environment. It is definitely it is not an easy market to get long in right now, and you want to be a little bit on the cautious side. With that said, everybody, have a great trading day, a great morning, and we'll see you on the charts on Monday. Take care, everyone.